We're going. All right, so I'm going to bring the order of this Village of Biscayne Park special local planning agency meeting for Monday, October 21st, 2024. It is now 7:40. Do the roll call. Edward Leyva. Scarlett Hammonds. David Gruen. Pablo Tato. Gage Hartung, as well as Denisha from the building. Okay, we have the minutes from our meeting of October 7th. Did we have one before that we tabled? We did? Okay. So with the minutes from October 7th, 2024, which we have those? We tabled 18.5 or ordinance 2024-4, and we approved the other one. So motion to approve the minutes. I'm waiting for a motion. No, I'm waiting for somebody to make the motion. You're gonna want to make the motion. You make the motion. I'm requesting the motion, so I'm waiting for one of you to approve it. Okay, thank you. I have a motion to approve.
Second.
David, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so the minutes are approved. I generally don't make the motion. You guys do it. All right, so we are looking at discussion 5A, ordinance 2024-XX. Oh, so this is the new one. All right. This is amending the land development code for section 16.2. All right, so we have a new state law that our illustrious legislature has thrust upon us, basically. That gives a timeline for approval of approval of building permits. So basically, the new law stipulates that the building department has 30 days to review and approve a building permit. So, huh? No, well, then, or 30 days to approve or deny or whatever it is, but they have 30 days. They have 30 days. The clerk and the building, our in-house thing has 10, is it 10 days? No. Sorry. I thought it was 5 days. Okay, so from the time that the building application is submitted, the building, our officials have 5 days to respond back that the application is complete. So 5 days. They have like what we just experienced with the drive, those ones that they were not correct. Those would be, if they didn't reply back in 5 days and say it's either complete or not complete, it would be automatically approved. Now they have to provide written notice to an applicant within 5 business days of receipt of an application, advising what information, if any, is needed to determine that the application is properly completed in compliance. So the building department has a lot on their plate now. So, but what the crux of it is that the application is for the building permits. It's the way it's worded is a complete and sufficient application for a building permit. So we had a meeting with the attorney, we had a meeting with our building official. There's another part of our state legislature or state code that already exists that's geared towards development permits. So what we've decided to do is we are going to make what we do as a board, we are approving development permits, which is technically what we do. So we are not actually going to be looking at building permits. What's being proposed is so we're going to be taken out of this timeline because we're going to be doing it's like pre-application. You have to basically, in order to have a complete and accurate application, one of the check marks is you have to have a development order, which is what now we are going to do. So we are basically going to be reviewing development orders, which is what we do. We don't really, we don't review the building permit, but we're separating the two by ordinance. So now when people come in here, huh? The clock doesn't start. So we are put in front of the cart, basically.
Is there gonna be more stuff than like skylights that we're gonna have to look at, or is there gonna be less stuff, or it's gonna be the exact same?
It's gonna be pretty much the exact same thing. It's just gonna be titled development order. So this,
New business.
huh? Yeah. Well, it's the same code. It's just, it's what we do. It's just that we've been put in the order of when you submit your application for the building. So now it's a pre thing. So this new ordinance that we are now looking at, that we're going to make a recommendation to the village commission to look at, is basically adding wording that says that you must have an approved village development permit, which is approved by the Planning and Design Review Board. Nothing contain, blah, 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 blah. For the purpose of this code, a development permit is that official village document which authorizes the development or alteration of land or structures within the village based upon the Planning and Design Review Board's review of development permit applications, compliance with the village land development code, and the comprehensive plan. So we're just adding wording that's going to protect us from the new, it's putting us, it's clarifying our code. It's kind of what we need to do. Because if not, we would be under the 30-day, it would just become technically impossible for the village for us to review something. And when we meet every 14 days and within the 5 days and the 30 days. So this is the.
Then that allows us to continue to do our three reviews approval.
Yes.
I have a question for you, not being an attorney. Does it make sense for our board to be renamed then, like the Planning and Development Review Board, if we're supposed to be doing like development approvals versus planning and design? Like, should we have development in our title so that if somebody wants to sue and say, hey, you're really doing the building approval stuff and taking too long or something?
Well, but I mean, if you look at what the ordinance is,
I'm just wondering if if we should have if we're doing development, we're like a development checklist, if development should be part of our name or not. Like, I don't know.
well, if you look at our, I don't think we need to, honestly, but I will let, somebody, like, you're correct. I mean, there might be something there. But if you look at chapter 16, we already have development permit in our in our code. It's just that we're clarifying that this development permit has to be put in front of the building permit.
Yeah, I would rather not, but I'm just asking Scarlett as the person, like the attorney of if some lawyer
Well, I'm
wanted to
not
come.
an attorney.
This is,
It just-
this is what you do.
Yeah.
So probably there's probably got to be another section that really defines what we do. That
Yeah, so that's,
maybe we would bounce that off of that and see if that says development.
Yeah, because if that said building permits, then we're in problem.
and just to let you know, this is, our attorney did this. I mean,
Yeah.
this was something that he reviewed the code. He went through our thing, and this is the wording, the language that he came up with.
Imagine if it's in the definitions of development permit already, then that.
As long as that doesn't also say building permit, then we would want to strike that out.
Yeah, if our roles and responsibilities are for building.
Not under first part, so it would probably be in the front part, under like the definition, the actual creation of a board. The creation of the land development code, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to derail it,
Yeah, you were.
thinking as the plaintiff attorney.
Right, you're thinking, the attorney that
Yes.
comes here to.
I didn't want to say sneaky on the record, but I was like, yeah. We sent you all of the hurricane impacts. How did you do that? It's not for a building.
I mean, rules of interpretations, or it does say the planning board, we're responsible for interpreting the code, the land development code.
Yeah, the way I would see it is can I just say like motion to approve pending or a
What?
review of the definition of our board to make sure that it doesn't include building permit anywhere in that definition.
Well,
And it goes up for the mission slash our term. Making sure that that's not other section.
well, if you look at what words, but permit, what's for the purpose of this code, a development, if you look at 16.2.2, development permit description, for the purpose of this code, development permit is that official village document which authorizes, they crossed out commencement of land or alteration, development or alteration of the land and structure within the village based upon the planning and design review board's review of development permit applications, compliance with the village land development code, and comprehensive plan. Then it crosses out, development permits include all types of construction permits, the building permit itself, and in addition, plumbing, electrical foundation. They just crossed all that out. So they're taking that off of
Yeah,
our,
my only concern was that the only thing that they're messing with is that stuff in chapter 16 and specifically 16.2. So my only thought is like, the only way we shoot ourselves in the foot here is if somewhere else in a different chapter or section, they slip up and write like development or building or
Yeah.
something, and it's like, oh yeah, look, see, you guys are on the hook here.
yeah. So it's funny, I had the same question for Brad, was, hey, want to make sure that there's nowhere else in the code that it says building permit. That's and he said he reviewed it and.
That was, I guess, really the crux of
Yeah.
my question
That-
of like, hey, is there anywhere else in this that somebody could say, gotcha?
Yeah, because there are so many other, over the years, we've added fences, we've added roofs, we've added things. And so they could have slipped in there the word building, at some point, but we have been.
Yeah.
We've always been looking, we actually have but now we won't have the agenda with the building permit number on it. It'll probably have to be there'll probably be like a development number or something like that they have to work out.
So they may create a separate permit number or a separate, case number for each development permit, especially if they're gonna separate them from like zoning, so it may have like zoning in front of it or something.
Like City of Miami, right? If you're like certain things, you get a PZ process number versus a PG.
Yeah. But it's, this law is, designed by probably some developer that wanted to get
Sorry for
something
you
built.
guys, but real, not so much the village, but City of Miami, City of Miami Beach, submit a permit and you wait 4 months for a first round of comments. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But they have big budgets and they can afford to have lots,
Yeah, again, so.
you
sorry
know,
for the
throw-
small
thro-
village and-
they can throw lots of employees on top of this thing to make it happen.
Well, it really is true because at City of Miami, the biggest issue are urban design and zoning. They take the longest because they don't have any staff and the staff they have, they can't retain and.
So, David, do you want to make a motion for what you just said? Like just,
Well, yeah, I would just say motion to approve pending verification that there's no other reference to building permits in other parts of the code as
any
it relates to
conflict
us.
that
Yeah.
would- Okay. Have a motion? Okay, David, Ed, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Approved. So and basically, we're making a recommendation to the village commission to take this up.
To not become illegal.
Yeah, we're not actually passing the law. We're just saying, hey, well, we need this to be done. So, okay. Am I supposed to do anything with this? Because it's not, we're not. It's in the minutes. All right, so next will be 5B, ordinance 2024-04, signage on construction sites. All right, so we had some concern on this one. I think, so, and the size of the sign. I think that was the crux of our issue was, there's nothing in here that says it says the village manager shall make the determination what size this is. So to me, we have in our code, maximum size signs for construction signs. We have maximum sizes for real estate signs. We have, those kinds of things. I'm not particularly personally comfortable with just giving them a blank. Again, we're just gonna make a recommendation to the village commission. They can take it, our recommendation, what they want. But to me, let the manager, from what I understand, this actually has it has to have no parking on the medians, the hours that you're allowed to work, where you have to provide a bathroom, it has all these things that are meant to prevent people from disturbing the neighbors. And it's also supposed to be in English, Creole, and Spanish. So they're trying to cram a lot of stuff,
Very short sign with not a lot of text, or it's gonna be, a building.
massive. So to me, I think we should, we provide, it's supposed to be I believe it's on the fence. So we require 6-foot construction fences.
Big change, getting the same thing again.
Well, there's nothing, this is not gone, the commission meeting has not happened yet. We discussed it but we haven't recommended, we didn't make any recommendations at our last meeting. My thing is let's just make a recommendation for a maximum size. And, 6-foot construction fences, so maybe 36-inch by,
Well, that's part of the question, which is a little unclear when it says, because it seems to us that that's what they're saying there is the verbiage will be given to you by the city, not the sign. But it's a little unclear. The question is, who's giving the signs? Yeah, that's something else.
no, the village is gonna give the sign out. The village is gonna say, this is the sign that you have to pay for, and you have to put it on the fence. That's the way I understand that it was supposed to be. But
I interpret it to be that the city is gonna tell you what the sign needs to say.
it did, but it is. But I thought that was,
Yeah, okay, so maybe it is that they're just can't picture a bunch of 36 by whatever signs sitting in an office somewhere.
well, they could be fabric, or they could be, canvas or whatever, sign material. But they're saying, here's the sign, you have to pay for it, and now you have to put it up. But my thing was, I personally just I wasn't comfortable with the vague, what is the maximum size of the sign? So, yeah, that's the thing. We don't even have a manager right now.
You guys are having trouble getting your permit reviews in a timely manner, and now you want to add this task.
The other thing too that I saw is hey, you have to get a permit in order to have heavy equipment. I assume that wouldn't have come in front of us for voting on.
For
but,
what?
Like the section 18.9.3, anybody that is using like a crane or stuff like that, and they get to 6 o'clock because it was pouring rain that day, and they were supposed to be done in one day, but they have to finish the next day overnight.
It's just like solutions.
But but
Really driving this.
But guys, remember this is already language that's already in our code It's the stuff that's underlined is the new stuff. Stuff, if it's not underlined, it's already existing. We already have it in there about, you know, heavy equipment and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just wondering like, okay, is that actually, like, is that part? happen?
So you can,
Feel bad.
you don't feel this is necessary, I mean,
Just, and I wasn't present at the commission meeting where whoever put this forward, what's driving it, like, it
It's a-
feels the need for these signs, what problem is it solving? Who complained?
it's basically, you know, I think code is constantly chasing contractors for parking in the swales. They're constantly,
It's the residents, they are complaining about the construction sites, so I'm assuming the signs are to help remedy that, because they are complaining about the active construction sites, construction noise before 7:30 AM and stuff like that.
That, so there's a sign now. Now, when they break those rules, what happens? Any difference?
well, I think that,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, either way, they're calling code compliance.
They're not breaking those rules because they don't know what the rules are. Breaking those rules because they don't give a crap. They want to start earlier, work later, have equipment wherever they want, park where they can because it's limited parking in a small lot that you're doing renovation. This sign is going to do nothing about that.
but
Unless this sign says at the bottom, failure to comply will result in towing and fines and all this stuff, like teeth. That's
well, I
not-
think and I'm just making this up. I mean, I think that the code enforcement officer shows up and the workers go, oh, I didn't know. And, you know, then they have to like find the manager or the super or the owner of the company to tell them, you know, hey, your employees are parking in the neighbor's front yard, you know, but if it's posted and it's in 3 languages, they can't say that they didn't know because they're going to be like, it's right here on the sign. I think that's the crux of it.
Okay, but correct me if I'm wrong, if you get red noticed, like, different scenario, but you get red noticed, it's either going, and then there's penalties and fines and all that stuff. It's gonna be a conversation between the contractor and the owner of that property of like, all right, which one of us is responsible for the fine? Did the owner tell the contractor, hey, yeah, just do it, I don't care that I don't have the permit, just do it, and I'll pay any fines? Or is it that the contractor did something they weren't supposed to? The code guys are showing up and saying, your ignorance is not an excuse. Here's your fine, right? And it's going to the property owner, and the property owner turns around to the construction guy and says, hey, jackass, you're paying this, right?
But
Like,
that's-
that already is in place, right?
But I think that the issue is
We don't need a
when
sign,
the code officer shows up, everybody plays ignorant.
but that doesn't, so you.
But if it's a black and white on the fence in front of them, they can say, listen, you can't say you didn't know you can't park in your neighbor's yard.
But what I'm saying is it doesn't matter if you're ignorant, if it's just an automatic bill to the property owner, right? And then it's like the property owner goes and tells this guy, hey, jackass, like, there's no such thing as ignorance on this. I'm not paying this bill. Like, the way I see it is if they're trying to bill random guilty parties all over Miami-Dade, like, that's not gonna work. It should be the same way as the red notices. Red notices, they don't fine the contractors, they just fine the property owner, and it's on the property owner if the contractor's supposed to pay for it, is the way that I've always understood those to work.
I don't know. Nobody knows what the language is.
Also, what neon color is the sign, or the sign's gonna be?
Right now, the village to provide that. thing to
Well, there-
people to put it on the road.
So there is a sign that I think that's what it comes up to. The manager is supposed to do it, but they want to have all this information on it.
Doesn't provide any details.
My vote would be that
Yeah.
I mean, my vote is that like, hey, all of this stuff should be getting fined to the property owner and not to anybody else, in which case code compliance should basically be able to take photos and not even get out of their car. It's just like, all right, cool. Here's the pictures, here's the violations, I'm going back to the office, and that's that.
I think the commissioners have proposed that they want to, right?
Yeah, so this has already been through first read. from the commission. They've already kind of like, the commission has worked up this language. They just realized that they had to send it to us as the planning board or the plan, or the design whatever that we're called. Local planning agency. Or we have to give our greens, our opinion on it. We're not approving this. We're not denying this. We're just giving them an opinion of what we think it should be.
No, I don't dislike it. People like, sign was there, my contractor knew, but it will be, there is so many workers. They don't, you have a big project and one is the roof, one is the driveway, they don't talk to each other in detail. They do whatever they can.
Yeah, but you,
have a
but,
sign for
but,
the roof, and
but did you have a GC or you,
yeah,
yeah,
you see, but
so,
it's
no, I mean, yeah, but the clients that I have that are GCs for residential stuff, if you slap the owner with a couple of fines, like they're making sure all of their subs
not-
know and
I
they're
would
calling
just
them and,
say, "Man,
yep, and,
But in the same breath, you're saying that, but the fact is that same day, there's somebody parking on neighbors across the street swale. Or there's,
yeah, but what but what I'm saying is if code enforcement is going in and fining, and they're fining to the owner of the property, for the owner of the property to then reconcile it, that's gonna create a degree of change that a sign isn't going to create.
I agree, I just think that the sign might help.
And that's already supposed to be occurring.
And it's- Here, I read at 7:30, it says, if I don't start delay, then don't, this is there, you can't.
So is this only for new construction projects, right? And because,
I mean, for renovation-
but where does it go then on a door and window permit, a new roof? Because you're not putting a fence up for those properties.
When you-
any construction requiring a temporary construction fence.
The part that scared me reading this was totally different, but I was like, oh, if I do owner occupied construction on my own property and I have to drive a pickup truck, then I'm in violation of like the employee construction vehicle parked after I. Which I think was a Coral Gables problem, like their code act. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a pickup truck's not heavy construction.
But it lists employee vehicles or whatever, so I was like, oh, if I'm doing owner occupied work, that's an employee vehicle, so. I don't think that we have anybody that their job is to run a tow truck either. I know that's on this. You don't use a tow truck.
So,
That was somebody pissed.
so whether or not we vote on anything or not, it's gonna move up to the commission at the next commission meeting. You know, my thing is just, if this is something that looks like the commission is gonna move forward on,
You think it's a good idea?
I do. I think it's a good idea. I just don't want them to end up being like some 6x20 look banner.
I don't mind, but I hope that they don't think that this is gonna change a single thing. Because that's on enforcement to fine people.
No,
Like,
then
showing up and
enforcement-
pointing at
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah.
pointed at a sign to my 4-year-old all day long, he's not
No,
gonna.
but it's,
No,
but,
but
I hear that all the time with make the code enforcement officer's job easier. It would be better to have stuff like that, you know? I mean, I'm constantly
I-
battling on
I
my
was-
block where the landscaper guy comes in the middle of the week and leaves a huge pile, but they didn't witness him do it. So they can't cite him for doing it because they didn't actually see him do it. But I get to live with a big pile of debris on my street for,
It said, who gives a crap whether they saw it or not? You cite the owner, end of story. You have a pile of debris in your yard, your problem. You are getting that fine. And then eventually you're gonna start dealing with it with your garbage.
yeah, but the problem is the thing is they can say, that's not my pile.
Is it in your yard? Is it in your yard? or your-
No, it's on the swale.
Is it in the swale in front of your property? Then you deal with it. I don't care who put it there. If your neighbor put it there, you better work it out with them. But that's the thing. It's gonna come down to just finding owners for problems. Signage, all the stuff is,
On the owner, every time.
Yeah.
The sign is just another tool that might help you.
That's why I'm saying I don't care about the sign. I just hope they don't think that that changes anything because.
and to David's point, like, I feel like there are so many, like, commission is constantly coming up with all these new regulations, but they don't enforce all the ones that are already existing.
I totally agree with that.
New paperwork does nothing until actually someone is enforcing the regulations.
Well, considering we're up
That's
to
the
what,
problem.
4 in code enforcement officers now, I think? 4? 3, 4? It's like. Oh, okay.
That manager.
So they should really, the board should be talking about how do we get more money to hire 3 more code enforcement because that's.
Well, the way that they
they
do
want
it is
to
by
pay.
actually writing the damn tickets. All of a sudden, it's a profit center.
But
But like for instance, I 3 or 4 times, and I know you've had it as well. 3 or 4 times I've had too much stuff for like the trash people to pick up because my landscapers leave extra shit, and all of a sudden I get a bill from the trash people, and I just turn around and hand it to the landscaper, and I'm like, listen, jackass, it's on you guys.
All
They're
right,
like,
let's,
"Oh."
let's wrap this meeting up. So
Do we have to vote or just comment or what?
what they're asking for us for him to make a comment, you know.
Do we know what color the signs are?
Can we-
I mean, I would rather not have giant neon color signs all over the park. You can avoid it.
So we recommend that it has a size limit and a color and a neutral color.
Yes. In one of our approved driveway colors. Just a circular reference back to when we had to go through every color in Home Depot to create a driveway color.
So does everybody like size? Neutral color? Anything else?
Thing about how these signs are gonna be attached. I would hate to have them falling off and
Probably zip ties. If not, then code enforcement is quite a fine.
maybe it's a go to.
Attachment to the. That's true, to fence. So size, neutral color, how it's attached to the fence.
Yeah, but I would want the note.
I mean, the code is something for, like, it's a general value, the way they implement it, it could be. There is room for implementation. We look at five, the content, we don't know what the content is. Could be like 3 points, could be 10.
But that's where
Could be
they're,
hours.
that's where they're taking it over to the commissioner, the manager.
Every single one of my restaurant websites. I'm saying like as soon as you're putting it in multiple languages, then it's like, oh, cool, now it's 4 points. Some ADA version of like, oh, you don't have a QR code that visually impaired. I mean, not my problem, but every single one of my restaurants has been sued for ADA, like website readability stuff. The shakedown.
Is there a way of, what do you have to click
Yeah,
on?
you,
and then
it reads the
it?
entire website, every ingredient, every menu. Do it on everyone because one person that we got sued on, that was a blind person in Arizona, had 80,000 open. They
Like certain
offer you a plan to make your website ADA compliant and they'll drop their case.
Okay.
Oh.
Morgan and Morgan, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, it's versions of that, yeah. I was just thinking like, if they're like, oh, I'm gonna make it in 3 languages, I could see the 4th language be like, oh, this isn't in.
Any other comments? We're all good with that? Okay. So
Come again.
we're all shaking our hand, we're all in agreement that we, I don't think we have to vote on this because there's no vote to really. We recommend that they include size, that it's a neutral color and there's an attachment. How is it being attached to the fence? Okay.
So this may be on the next agenda for your final approval.
Well, it's going to the village commission at the.
If you're recommending these changes, because they're gonna do their second read on November 12th.
Well, but that they can make a change during their second reading. You can make changes to a code based on second reading. So these are recommendations to the commission. We could say nothing and make it still. So, all right.
Should do adjourn.
Motion to adjourn? All right, we are adjourned at 8:15.